Aloha and welcome to Java. This is for 23rd of April 2024. I got quite a bit to go over as far as the markets. A lot of movement today. Should be quite exciting. So let's go right into it. First day Passover. Let's look at the markets. So relative strength of the dollar and the 10-year yield will be in focus today. We can see the MMRI is a conglomerate of those. So those of you that are new. So it did pull back as we expected on the probability yesterday. We're still in extreme territory, so I'd like to keep that in focus. However, yesterday it did give that little bit of breathing room that we're expecting in stocks. They did rise a bit. So with that, the fear greed gauge headed a little closer back toward that greedy area, but we're still in fear. So 37 is the level at the moment. The sentiment right now, watching the open still a little bit higher, but watch later today or tomorrow. Looks like the charts are due for turning again. So not necessarily a buy the dips, at least not for regular equities. So possibly for commodities, looking at silver approaching a good price again, below $27. So with this sentiment, stock market is opening with gains, expecting earnings reports a little bit later today. So we'll be watching those. So currently is a little in the green territory. This is early. We are also watching little pressure. The fear of volatility index down with gold and oil. Gold retraced from that 2,400 level. Could retrace a little bit more. I think that might get to a buying level. Silver is at the moment, could go a little lower, but it's in a range where I like it again. So calendar today, we're getting PMI and new home sales. Also prior to market open tomorrow, durable goods orders in some reports there. So are still getting more earnings. General Motors just came out beating their forecast, so they are on the rise. That one actually, to be honest, surprised me, but it's just their targets, based on their targets and sentiment, not really actual numbers and performance. So going into the banks, few stories coming out. First, X, formerly known as Twitter. So they are releasing a little more information about this. Elon Musk is saying that he is attempting to design the app to become your bank account. And he has, if you are not aware, worked previously with payment industry such as PayPal. So moving across to Bank of America. Now I've got a couple of things on this. The first is that Bank of America finding value in Ukraine bonds as they're seeing the restructuring on track. So they know money is going to be piling into Ukraine for the rebuilding. And this is basically, it's a huge money laundering deal. So as we were choosing banks that were going to take a fall, because one of the major ones will, this is the very reason I did not choose Bank of America, because I think they are prime for subsidizing in one form or another. So the bonds that are going over there is a major way they can do that without a direct subsidy. So if they're investing into that and then United States pours US tax dollars into the banks that are doing the restructuring, rebuilding, naturally it's going to be good for them. My personal choice was Wells Fargo because while they were not in as poor position, I don't think they're going to get the funding that BofA will. So moving forward, we've got Venezuela. So they're accelerating their cryptocurrency shift to move out of basically their currency that they have at the moment. They've got oil sanctions coming back upon them. They're finding themselves in a squeeze between the BRICS nations and then also having to choose with doing trade with the US. So they're getting pressured seriously, and this is only what they're putting in the news. So much more on the back end to pressure them one way or another, particularly from the US. So we've got United States consumers, basically the ones in low income, are facing loan stress while banks pull back. So the anything below middle class now, debt is credit, basically, as they call it, or loans, drying up. So they do not have access to money any longer, which they've been taking on credit, either short-term loans, credit cards, or otherwise. So going to seeing major stress coming out from that side. So moving to energy, the economy and commodities. So this is where I'm looking at the dip buys. We're watching gold falling again after dropping, it was almost 5% yesterday. So it was quite a good drop, probably around the 2,200 level or so. I am not sure we will see it below 2,000. If we do, it will be probably not much. So to give you a couple of levels, keep your eyes on your levels. We've got oil going up on, looks like, robust European Union data. So they're saying basically that their consumerism is expected to increase. I am not as certain on that as they are, but we'll watch oil. I think it's very volatile at the moment. So with that, we've got the United Kingdom energy bills. They're talking about they could rise by £29 billion on high interest rates. So that's not very good. They're still struggling, despite what they tell you in the media. And if you're living there and you're seeing what I'm saying, please let me know in the comments. Let the others know that are here and that are reading this, the truth about the economy there, because I don't think it's, again, it's propaganda. I don't think it's doing as well as the media is saying. So, as an example, pulling this out, we've got Lebanon. So they are one of the latest to experience hyperinflation on a completely devalued currency, which is eventually what most currencies will go to. So when their currency got so weak, they accepted US dollars on basically their black market. So with this, it is pushing their inflation down because a stable currency, or the perceived stable currency, does keep your prices down. So that should tell you what the inflation in the United States or anywhere, as it's getting out of control, that is the earmark of basically the currency going to just complete devaluation. So wars and trade wars, there's a few things I want to bring up here. These headlines are absolutely horrible. So Ukrainians, they believe $61 billion in US aid won't stop Russia. Again, that was never the point of being there. If you thought that, it's only a propaganda trick of the media. We've got the new US aid package will just kill more Ukrainians, and this is according to the Kremlin. They're in a pretty strong position at the moment, and even though they need more weapons as well, they are not being bolstered as much as the entire European Union and United States feeding Ukraine, and they're still losing. So, as this says, Moscow is unconcerned about the $61 billion in aid. They've already seen what's going on. So with this, the real story behind it, of course, always shows in the smaller stories. So they have now frozen all consular services for military-aged men abroad. What does this mean? Those eligible to serve, or at least serving age, from Ukraine now must return back to Ukraine in order to either update their travel documents, update their passports, renew, or anything else. So this is a trick to get them back. As soon as they're back, guess where they're going. They're getting free trips, and it's not with the passports. So a little bit further on the other side with the other war, because we've got 3 proxy wars going on. That was the proxy war with Russia, got a proxy war with Iran. So behind this also is the economic wars. Iran is set to host the economy ministers of African countries. So we're just reading yesterday the stories coming out about Niger kicking out the United States military, as well as Chad. So with this, we've also got Iran to accept Russian credit cards. So the new alliances are coming into play. So Iran hosting African countries, setting up more trade as they are growing, and then also accepting Russian credit cards. They've got the financial infrastructure now, basically replacing Visa and MasterCard, and they're going to go from there. So larger things at play here. So just one more story to kind of show what happens with currencies, because everyone always asks, well, what's going to happen with the currency? Zimbabwe. So they just introduced what they're calling the ZiG. It's not gold backed, but it is gold and commodity pegged currency they just came out with, wiping out 330% of the stock's rally. So as they bring in a strong currency, money moves into it and out of all of the other places where money was basically seeking refuge. You wouldn't want to hold the currency if it's devaluing. So similar thing going on here. So their stocks shot up. Now that they've got a strong currency, their stocks are crumbling and money is going into the currency again. So watch the United States, how the stocks shot up and now kind of retracing. So a few other things going on with that, but that's just an example and overview of the dynamics that happen. So with this, I hope this was helpful. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about any of this. Even it's just to say hello from whatever country you're watching from, really trying to tie us together because I think community is more important than ever. With that, I wish you a great day. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.